how do you exactly want it? We just talked for so long.
So good to see you, Blake.
Yeah, is my leg like way out there? You can't see it. Okay, that's good to know. So
That is good.
If I'm rubbing your foot there, don't mind it.
Well, I already thought that we were going to fight over real estate here. These would be nice and normal, close chairs or far away enough, but with you involved,
Yeah.
I'm always fighting for real estate.
We'll just tangle up and and figure it out. So well, this is it. This is conversations surrounding real estate, life, everything else that's going on, and just
This is fun. I do think that we have some great conversations, and to be able to kind of sit down in the setting and have be able to explain some of it to everybody. You've just got into real estate. Are you a year now?
year end of this month. So yeah.
What
early days.
Ride.
Early
Man, you
days.
joined in a crazy market, eh?
Yes,
that has
that's
been
true.
a different change. But you've been in real estate before. So
Yeah.
as a contractor, and you own rental properties, and you have bought and sold and had an agent represent you before.
Yes.
So that whole, like, you're not brand new, and you would have a good Rolodex of people
Yep.
who would want to buy and sell with you and trust your opinion.
Yeah.
How have you found the switch between that career, the general contracting, and into real estate solely now?
Yeah, it's like you said, it is a natural fit in the way that I was going through houses all the time, working with customers who had just bought homes, who were looking to renovate a home to sell. Lots of things that crossed over quite easily. But getting to the actual real estate side of things, I had done deals and I know how I operated personally with my realtor, and my experience was how my realtor operated with me.
Right.
And when I got into the business, you realize that there's a lot of realtors who operate a lot of ways, and there's a lot of customers who have a lot of expectations. So
It's the Wild West.
Yes.
And to be honest, we have one of the smallest barriers to entry of any career, especially given, the ceiling that you can achieve in the business.
Yes, for sure.
So to go to school for 6 months and come out with the ability to make a good living, you do have a big variance of people in it. And that's tough. We have stats like when I first joined, this is 8 years ago now.
Yeah.
I looked at the average salary of an agent in Ontario, and it was $133,000.
Okay.
The median, though, was $38,000. So when you have those outliers, that tells you two things. A, some people are not very productive, but why aren't they? Are
Right.
they not productive because they're not giving any value? Are they not productive because they're doing it part-time, or just not very trustworthy?
Yeah, exactly. And it's this interesting thing where you're right, there's not much school to it. If you have a background in it, it's really handy. But then you are given the keys and trust to somebody's most valuable asset realistically. It's the equivalent of, if you have somebody who walks in day one in a Lamborghini showroom selling $250,000 cars, some people are selling the equivalent of 3 of those on their first sale. It's a huge deal.
It is massive. I cannot stress that enough. And I thank every single client who's ever trusted me, because it is oftentimes the biggest transaction of their life in one shape or form or another. It's the responsibility that we have to just take care of people is immense. I just wholeheartedly believe that. I don't do it. I don't want to do it for everybody, but I will shovel the driveway. I will clean your house. I will do whatever it takes. I will go run water samples. I will drive back and forth to put signs up and down and just door knock the neighbors to make sure that they are aware that your house is going up, and I will spend whatever resource that I can, either monetary wise or time wise, to make sure that person who trusted me gets the best experience possible. It's really, really important to me.
Yeah, and that's a perfect question. So being a first-year agent, trying to learn that and how you fit in and different customers and stuff. You're now in your 8th year. What have you found over the years as far as customer care or customer relation? Is there anything big that you would look back at your first, second year, and if you had a time machine, give yourself some advice or something, just something you've learned along the way?
When I look back, I do I don't know how. I wish I had the knowledge that I have now, but at the same time, I don't regret anything. I don't think I did a disservice to anybody. I appreciate everybody trusting me in the early days, but I also very, very quickly developed a team around me. So I have a trusted mortgage broker. I have a trusted couple lawyers. I have a trusted contractor. Like, it's very important that if I don't have the actual resource to do it, that I find somebody who can accomplish that job. When somebody asks me for a well report, I need that to go well. I need it to be the right answer so that they can make the best decision. It's not just having the resource that goes, hey, yes, this is fine. Like, when we do a home inspection, I'm not looking for the easiest inspector. I'm looking for the inspector who looks at it all so that my client can make the best choice. If they trust me, they'll buy something, right?
Yeah,
whether it's this home or the next one or 2 years from now, they'll buy something. So I will make a paycheck at some point. But if they're buying a home and I'm thinking about, the commission coming in, then people can see that pretty quickly.
For sure, yeah.
So that comes into part, but also I don't want them to buy a lemon because selfishly I want to sell their home when they were ready to go in 5 years. And I don't want to sell a lemon. I want it to be a nice, easy transaction on the other side. So it's really important to me that everything goes really well and that they feel cared for so that I get a call back.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's, the customer care thing that you do really well in your business, something that I'm trying to follow also, because it is a repeat customer business. If you really treat people well, people probably sell homes 3 to 5 times in a lifetime.
Absolutely.
And if you have a good relationship and they have no other reason to call anybody else, they won't, right? So what... Initially, you weren't a real estate agent right out of school. Right. So what were you doing, and what made you switch, I guess?
Well,
what made you become an agent?
I've had a very interesting career path. And it's always funny. I'll tell a bit of a story, but when you're a kid and you're talking to Uncle Jimmy or Aunt Susie or whatever, when you're a kid listening to the story about how somebody goes through life and they go do this for a career for a bit. They go to school, they get this degree, and then they hop over here, and then they're a contractor, and then they kind of bounce around. And as a kid, you look at that person, you go, wow, that person's amazing. They're so well-rounded and so motivated and so organized and so... They're just confused.
Right.
To be honest, man, I started, my parents got me into golf early. So I worked at a golf course, worked in the back shop, worked my way up into the pro shop, and then I was playing a bunch, so I ended up taking my PGA of Canada players test. So I ended up playing and teaching in the PGA of Canada for years in Ottawa. Yep. And then while I was still going to school. So it was nice, footed the bill for beers in university.
All the important stuff, sure. Yeah, exactly.
So at that time, I was going to school for kinesiology. I went to Lakehead University because that's where I got accepted. Not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I do work pretty darn hard. So
perfect.
I went up north, and did a 4-year degree up there, and then traveled for a little bit to figure out what I wanted to do. My mom is a physician and has worked with respiratory therapists before, so she gave me the idea to go try that. So I went back to school, this time in BC, and got my respiratory therapy degree out there. And then came back to Ottawa and worked as an RT in home oxygen for a while. And I really enjoyed the idea. I really, really wanted to have a career where I could climb the corporate ladder, put your time in, see the reward. I liked the idea of really showing your effort, and then you get rewarded with maybe a promotion or a salary increase every year. It turns out that's not how that works, though.
Right.
It turns out the corporate structure is meant to just fill voids as people die or retire. Right. So you don't get to do that. They only have so many spots. So I got frustrated with that pretty quickly and looked at all sorts of things. I was looking at police, firefighting. Just so happened that my parents were selling their place at the same time. So I met with their real estate agent. He was very kind to me. We had lunch and chatted, and turns out I liked the idea of that effort going somewhere.
Right.
So I signed up for real estate, did both part-time while I was in, well, full-time when I was in school for real estate, and still working as an RT. And then funny enough, I had retired as an RT after working for 8 months, doing both for about 2 weeks. And then the pandemic hit.
Oh,
so as soon as I retired, I gave up my license, and then the pandemic hit, and the CRTO, the governing body of respiratory therapists, had reached out and wanted me to reinstate my license and go pitch in. So I did that. And so I went into the hospital and worked there for 10 months. I had no idea that real estate was going to go like this. And then also the pandemic was more than 3 weeks long.
Yep, that's true.
After, I traded all of my day shifts in the hospital for night shifts so that I could go 7 to 7 at night, 4 days a week, and then sleep for 2, maybe 3 hours, and then show homes from 10 o'clock on. And I was writing offers in the hospital and stuff. It was a lot. I had no idea. So I burnt out pretty quick after about 10 months, but my moral compass was in the right direction, which was great.
Yep,
so now I just do this full time.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. And that's, it's quite the story. Do you think that naturally, you want to climb the corporate ladder, and you had, motivation to do that? And then when you saw more opportunity, would you say that you have like a higher risk tolerance than a lot of people, just with the commission base, you don't have a clientele when you're like, you were building a clientele, but really it's there is a lot of risk to the initial start point of real estate, and you totally depend on yourself in that.
There totally is, and I had a really funny conversation, and I know that you and I are very, very similar on this. When I left the hospital, all of the nurses were quite surprised that I was giving up my license again. That's a good job. You make $45 an hour or so while I was in there, and they couldn't figure out why I would want to give that up, or the opportunity. What if you trip in real estate? What if you fall? What if you need something? You could always do, a couple shifts or whatever. And I honestly feel that if you have a plan B, you do not have a plan A.
Yeah.
So there is just this overwhelming desire to just succeed. And if I failed in real estate, I would go get 3 jobs. I would work at Tim Hortons and McDonald's, and I would do it. I'm not above any of that. It's what I would need to do at the time, and I took a risk, and it's panned out so far. But you're right. And I know that you have the same pedigree as you have that work ethic. You will just go to work and make it happen for you and your family, right?
Yeah, definitely. And that's, I totally agree. And that's why I think we connect well, is just, and what you gave up, 90 to 95%, that's what I'm touching on. 95% of the population would never do it, because you're right. It was what you did. You went to school for it. It would be backtracking to, leave it. You're comfortable. It's shows through your passion in real estate, because you have to have a passion for it. This isn't something where you're like, well, I got nothing going on. I'm going to sell some houses. It seems easy.
Pick up a phone.
I saw the property brother do it. Let's just go for it. But it's, and that is what I think, just watching agents through my first year, I think that's, you yourself are a great agent. I think it's what makes up the makeup of a lot of great agents, is just their ability. They're passionate about it. Like, this isn't something that, it is paying the bills, but that's not enough. And that's where you lose a lot of those first year agents. They try it. They think it's going to be easy. Once they realize it's hard, they go to the comfortable thing, because it's paycheck every week, and you never have to worry or stress.
That's absolutely it. And I know a lot of that fire underneath you and I. Excuse me.
There's the fire.
That Red Bull came up.
Yeah.
I know that fire beneath you and I separately it does come from your family. My parents have always had that same kind of work ethic, and so I learned that, for better or worse, growing up. But what I wanted to talk to you about too, because I don't know a whole lot about your sport background, but I do know that sports play a massive role in how you can work as a team with a buyer or seller right now, but also just focus on the main goal. The goal is not to score a point, it's to win the match, right?
Yes.
So you started in volleyball, and tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, my background was kind of just grew up in the school system around here. So I'm a Belleville native, grew up here my whole life. And yeah, just, well, if you can't see it here, but I am 6'8". I hit six.
I can see it.
Yeah,
you're touching my feet.
Yeah, we're crossing. We're a pretzel here. But I hit 6 feet in grade 6.
Wow.
Yeah, so 6 feet, size 13 feet in grade 6. I was 6'4" in grade 8 going into high school. So sports initially came easy.
They found you.
You were just volleyball became that thing because you just you kind of stood there and you did it. And my older brother, he got into, we played a little bit of everything, but he got into volleyball and started playing club volleyball in Coburg. He was 2 years older than me. I wanted to do everything just like him. So I thought, why not?
Natural.
And so did the volleyball thing, and it felt, for the first time in my life, I'd say that was something I just felt so passionate about. Got that competitive feeling, winning. And the biggest thing that I pulled from it in the early days was like the development part of it. I really like coaching younger kids, and same coaching in golf. I know you feel the same way. You just seeing someone who didn't understand a skill before and then being able to put it together like a puzzle piece, just fitting perfect.
Man, their eyes light up. There's no way to describe it. But when you see those eyes light up, it's just amazing.
100%.
It is.
And that was what I first fell in love with in the sports world. And it's such a tangible thing. You see it. You couldn't spike a ball before, then you learn to spike a ball. You can't pass, you learn to pass. And then through high school, really was not a good student, couldn't take tests, probably had a few teachers that literally got me through high school. I passed with the lowest grade possible, and not on an effort scale, just wasn't there. And my parents were fantastic in this way. I have 3 other siblings who are all very smart, did well, got 90s, and I just couldn't put it together. And my dad has always been an entrepreneur, and my mom has been very supportive of that. And they always just said, it's not your thing. This isn't your thing, and that's okay. And they said, you're street smart. And that's what I just heard my whole life growing up. They're like, you may not be able to put it on a test, but in life, you figure it out. And that's good enough. And so I think the reinforcement of that all through my high school was just like, didn't bother me on the test taking, because I just knew that, well, in life, you'll be good to go. So
it takes great parents to be able to say that confidently and believe in you, because they obviously saw your work ethic in volleyball, right? That doesn't just come because you're tall.
Yes.
You have to do some others. It takes genetics and effort to do that.
100%. And that sounds like your parents. And I think a lot of that comes from you watch, what your parents do, and they can say words all they want. But you're always going to follow the action of what they do. And the entrepreneur, I never felt really fear in doing the entrepreneur thing, because like my dad was a mortgage broker in the 90s, and then he was a real estate agent, and he, won like most new home sales across Canada. And then he was doing great. And then he started car washes, and people are saying, you're selling great real estate, you're crazy, like, why would you wash cars? And he's like, I don't know, and anyways, now he owns a car wash franchise locally here and has done fantastic. And so you watch that, and it's the action, it's the every step. Yeah, sure, he was scared, but he always knew he had the ability to figure it out. He was going to work through it. If it didn't work, he just did something else. And it's the belief in self, like that you're going to be successful because you know yourself, right?
Well, and I've seen that in you. You're almost a full year in. So to give everybody some perspective, a regular agent in their first year, I think if you ask them how many deals they would be excited that they did in their first year, would be 2 or 3. Would be a really, really solid first year. And you're at number 13.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah. So
that just doesn't come from just being tall. They're not just here for the freak show,
sure,
right?
Yeah, we're gonna find out. We'll see.
You have the effort that goes with that to make sure that they get what they deserve in this transaction, and then it spreads. You have people repeats, referrals are exactly where you belong.
Yeah.
And you do very, very well. So.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And that's the passion piece. And I believe that, I did the volleyball and I went to university and went overseas and did probably one of my proudest was representing Canada. Did that for 8 years.
Wow. How does that work? I know nothing about volleyball. Sure. Can you explain it?
Yeah. So, there's the high school and college level and university level. Okay. Luckily, I got a scholarship to one of the best volleyball universities in the country, which is Trinity Western in British Columbia.
Okay.
Went there and we won a couple championships. And through the younger years, so when I was 17, 18 years old, I started on the beach volleyball circuit. So I had to have some tournaments, try out, ended up being able to represent Canada at Worlds, and Worlds was in Portugal. So flew out to Portugal and we had a 9th place finish there, which was just fantastic opportunity for an 18-year-old. And then I just decided to switch to indoor because you could just spike the ball harder and that felt fun. Though tanning was good. Tanning was good. But spiking the ball hard was great. So, so I started on the junior national team. I played 2 years with Team Ontario. Okay. We ended up winning the provincial champion or the national championship with Team Ontario. Got selected to the U19 Team Canada, so it's a junior team. We traveled to tournaments in Mexico, El Salvador, Korea.
Holy smokes.
All around, yeah. And then from there, you can get onto the senior national team, and that's what you would see at the Olympic level. So Volleyball Canada was developing a lot in the time that I was doing it. It's much more popular sport now. It was becoming that. So navigating that. And so I ended up being on the senior national team, and same thing. I was able to go to Japan and China and go all around. And so it kind of works that you represent your country in the summertime.
Okay.
So you kind of join your national team from July till September. And then during the year, you can have clubs anywhere in the world pay to have you represent their club team.
Oh, okay.
So I would be on the national teams, Team Canada, but then, for example, my first year, I played professional in Poland. So Poland hired me for a contract year. So I played for this team. They were Olsztyn in Poland. Polish league volleyball is their hockey.
Okay.
So you're on billboards, drove a Mercedes-Benz, and you have 15 to 20,000 fans come to games, and it's just, you are like literally what NHL is here. That's volleyball in Poland, cool. Which was great. It's their national sport. So it was a lot of fun. You showed up to arenas, you stayed and signed autographs for an hour after, and then you came back to Canada and nobody cared.
It is different, right?
It is.
It's totally different.
Yeah. So I ended up doing, I was in Poland for a year, France for a year, and Germany for a year on contracts. And then the pandemic hit and sport just kind of closed doors for a bit. Right. Nobody knew what was going on. We didn't want to be overseas away from our family in case. My wife also played professional at that time, so she played in Austria and Belgium while I was playing there.
How did you do that? How did you manage different countries? Like, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's, you know what? Europe has a great travel system. You hop on a plane for $50 and can get to another country. So whereas Canada is so vast, man. Right? So so we worked through that, and then came back during COVID, and we settled back here just because it's what we knew. She's from Winnipeg, and weren't sure what we were going to do. So I just went to work for my dad at the car washes for a bit to just figure out where life was going to go. And then I think just through some time there, we decided that, it seemed like it was very young in a career for a volleyball player to quit at that time. Usually I would still be playing for another 5 years even now. It was just, we knew we wanted to have a family, and it just kind of made sense. And so, we ended up staying around, did the car wash thing. Rolled into naturally starting a construction company. So
naturally isn't exactly the word I would use for that.
Yes. Okay.
How did you go from spraying water to hammering nails?
Sure. That was, again, just my dad and mom my whole life. By the time, I always tell people I was meant for rentals and real estate. I was born in a 9-plex in Belleville that my dad was renovating while I was born. So he was turning over units like as I was born, and we probably moved 7-8 times, flipped the house every time. My dad did all the work. He taught us all the work.
Okay.
They bought a cottage that from an estate sale that was dilapidated. Again, fixed the whole thing up. So since I was 10 till I was a full adult, I had probably renovated 8 homes.
Okay.
By the time I was even...
This wasn't brand new.
No.
It had nothing to do with the car wash.
No.
Just the entrepreneurial skills.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think that's a massive boon to your business is that I actually had you out on site the other day to help me with a duplex. Yeah. It is really a huge part of that you have rental properties yourself, that you know what it's like to use the landlord-tenant board and use property management and everybody else that way too. But also when you can look at a place and evaluate, hey, can I actually fix this, or is this too far gone? Where's the money going to come from? You can always, what I found through the years is you can always win in real estate if you're smart about what you're renovating or what you're repurposing. But sometimes you can win more as well too, right? Where you don't have to just buy because you feel like buying. You can wait for the right opportunity. Yes. And I think the skill set that you have with your background is a massive help. And I love being able to work with you because I like to feed off that.
It is, and I didn't realize the benefit it would have, but the people that I've worked with have been like, well, why wouldn't I have a real estate agent and a contractor? Like,
absolutely.
Of course I'd like to have a contractor. And I've seen so many times on the other side of it as the contractor, because the deal is usually done when I've come on site. And I've seen it too many times where they are promised a world from an agent who doesn't have the right numbers or doesn't have the right mindset. And this is the difference. What I like how you approach it is you have all those contacts, like you said. So if you're not sure, you're not going to guess.
Right.
If you're not sure and you see a joist is rotting and you don't know, you pick up the phone and you call someone and you make sure that people are able to make an informed decision. And that's what's great about your business.
That's the biggest part is the information. They will, again, to touch base on that, but they will purchase something.
Yes.
But they need to make the best decision for themselves, and you're going to get that through information. Obviously, you can have analysis by paralysis type of, or paralysis by analysis type of, feeling as well too, where you have so much you can't make any decision.
Yes.
So it depends on the person, but I'm not going to withhold
for sure.
ever. It's really important to find the correct answers. And,
yes.
And that's really important.
And where we've seen that so majorly is the market has now changed. Absolutely. There was a time during COVID where you had to buy, and this is when I was doing most of my contracting at this point. So it was very interesting to watch it and now be on the agent side. But people were just no inspections. They were buying stuff sight unseen, and they were getting not very protective advice from their agent. Their agent, was getting exhausted because they showed them 15 places. So by that point, they lost a bit of the normal, protection that they would do. They're just like, yep, go do whatever. And that was unfortunate for a lot of people because now the market has gone down, and you must be seeing it all the time with when you're trying to give people opinions of the price of their property. It's just not where it used to be, and that's a tough conversation.
It is very tough. When I get called for a listing estimate, I usually do some background information. I scroll down, just pray it wasn't bought in 2022. Then I've got a little bit more to work with here. So it is tough, and navigating that part of it. I was just having a chat with a colleague earlier today about it hurts to take a loss. So if you have to move, you bought in 2022 and you have to move right now, that hurts to take that $50,000 hit or whatever. The benefit, though, is if you're repurposing your money, if you're going to bigger, better pastures, or you're able to reinvest it, or you're able to do something else with it, then it's not so bad to just, like, you don't, when you put money in the stock market, it doesn't just keep going up.
Yeah.
You do sell some shares to buy something else, and it could be that you've won a lot on a certain share, but lost on this one. But overall, your portfolio looks great. And of course, in rentals, it's a lot easier to do the math for than it is with your single family home that you're living in. But still, you can always formulate a plan. And I love to sit with people. I just sat with clients the other day for a listing estimate, and they want to be able, they described what they want to buy with their money, and I took a look at their place, and they don't have to move today. It's uncomfortable where they are, but they can make it work. So we just put a 2 to 3 year plan in. I'll just keep them top of mind. If the market changes and I can get them more for their house, they also have more equity in their house in 2 to 3 years as well too, then we can have that forward thinking part of it, where you mentioned earlier, but you can have a lot of agents who go, no, let's just list it. Right. Yep. And it's not best for the client. And that's really, it bugs me.
Yeah.
That's tough.
So being an agent in both markets, what do you think? There's a lot of difficulty during COVID too, because you're on the other side of the multiple offers, 100 above. Like there was so little you could predict. The market's gone the other way a bit, where it's harder to predict. Is it going to go lower or higher? Whereas, so what would you say are strategies that you're using in this market, either with your clients, with yourself? Like, how are you approaching it? What advice would you give people now in this change? Because it's the first question that we always get asked all the time. How's the market? That's all the time, right? So what usually is your answer to people, or what advice do you give them?
The market is challenging for sure. Two really big things is that one is, are they buying and selling in the same market?
Right.
Theoretically, it doesn't matter then. If you're going to sell for a deal and then buy for a deal, that's good, isn't it? I mean, it's fine. Like, it's all the same amount of money. And if you're also back in COVID where you're selling for 100 over and you have to buy for 100 over, then that's the same type of delta between those numbers. So the only argument that I have that is better as well too is that buying and selling in this market in particular, in a buyer's market, is technically better for the person, the seller, because you're selling, say, at $500,000 and buying at, say, $600,000 instead of selling at $6 and buying at $7, for example. The difference between $500 and $600 in your sale price and your buy price is the same, but the difference between those two sale prices, you're paying 5% less tax, real estate fees on top of that money. So in that exact scenario, you're selling, you're up $5,000. So if market conditions are the same, if you're buying and selling in the same spot, but there is that one caveat that technically it is better to buy and sell in a buyer's market for that little bit. So that's the first bit of advice, is just to look at that. And it's not really advice. I guess I'm just painting a picture. But then they have the information to be able to look at it. And the next one is if they are buying and selling at the same time as well too. I talk to people a lot about conditions and what does that mean. And so people understand that you can buy a house conditional on you selling yours, which is absolutely a condition that you can get accepted and you can work with, and that works. How ready are you to sell your place? If you put an offer, if you go shopping first, because that makes you feel better.
Yeah. Yep.
How ready are you to list your place? If you're 2 months out, nobody's going to take you very seriously on the other side of it. So that costs you money.
Right.
I'll put a scenario in front of you and answer me.
Sure.
You're selling your place. You have two offers on the table. They're both, one is 500 and one is 505. Both have financing and home inspection conditions, but the 505 has a sale of their house.
Right.
Which one would you choose?
Yeah, I'd probably take the one for less. Because, the sale of own home, it's risky. You have a longer conditional period, so you kind of have to sit on your hands a bit and wait to see if they sell their house. And then you have to trust an agent on the other side. You trusting your agent, you have this locus of control, but then you don't know if the other agent, are they overpricing the house? Do they know the market well enough over there? Is this thing going to sit for 2 years, or is it going to sell in one day? But in your experience, if you have those two offers, would you sometimes ask those questions to the other agent?
Absolutely.
Like, how would you explain that to your seller in that situation who knows nothing about someone selling their own house?
Absolutely. It's really important that I have all the facts to be able to present to my seller. And I do the same thing if I'm on the buying side of that too, is a bit of a strategy that I put together is, listen, people are busy. They have kids and dogs and pets and everything. So if there's ever a point in time, if we're planning on listing their house in the next 6 months, there's a point in time in that 6 months that they have it ready, cleaned, or they're going away for a weekend or whatever, and they can get everything prepped and done and everybody out of the house. Let me take the photos. Let me take the photos and video and do the entire listing, and then we'll wait until you find the place that you want to buy, so that if you do buy it based on you selling your place, I can go to the other agent and say, we're selling 15 Gearin Street, and here's the MLS. I've got the photos done. It's going up tomorrow if you accept our offer.
Yep.
So that preparedness will shave that difference in value. And it goes up astronomically. Like 505 now sounds a little bit better if the other agent is very prepared that way. And if you're not, if the seller's like, oh, I just got to do a couple things to the place. And meanwhile, they're thinking about putting a garage up or whatever. Right? Like, just got to put a new carport in or whatever. Yeah. So that's a big one. And usually, so that exercise that I go through with my clients all the time. So if we have 5 and 505, they usually pick the 5. If we have 510 and 5, which one would you pick, 510 or 5?
Yeah, that would be a conversation that it becomes, what is that worth to you? What is it? If it's someone who's willing to wait, they know there's going to be possibly other offers, it becomes a different. Whereas if it's someone who says, we need to be gone tomorrow, you work
Absolutely.
with, it's trying to work with what's best for your seller
Absolutely.
at that point. And it
becomes much more of a conversation.
100%.
And I usually just keep increasing that number.
Yeah.
And usually people stop at like the $15,000. That's probably personally where I would start to be like, I could use 15 grand.
Yes.
I'll bet on a stranger that they can sell their house if they're prepared.
Right.
And that would be good. So, but asking that question gets the seller to tell you the answer out of their own mouth,
right? Which
is important because that's teamwork together. Yeah. Now we've come up with the answer together. And you have to be on the same team to be able to do this. If I just say, hey, a sale of buy a property clause is worth 15 grand, it means nothing to you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying things. Or if I don't want to show you the house that I know is dilapidated, but you think is a great value buy, I'm showing actually tonight I'm showing a house for $300,000 in Deserano that I know we're going to walk in and out of, and I can already smell the cat pee from the photos. But my buyer needs to know that that's 100%. Not where you're going to get the value out of it. So I'm just ready to go.
Yeah,
and they need to experience it. It's 100%. Really important to me to get that whole experience.
And you need to know where your buyer sits in that, because there are people, like the risk aversion thing comes back into buyers and sellers too. Like you have people show up and they go, oh, it's a $300,000 home and we'll just paint and fix and do this and we'll rent it and we're going to make a bunch, or, we're going to live. Right. And then you ask the questions like, have you ever done anything like this? Do you know? And when they say, no, I don't own a tool, then you start thinking, okay, these are the conversations now we have to start talking about how it is not HGTV. You don't have 17 trades working simultaneously, somehow drywalling and painting at the same time. So it's those conversations on, but you have to bring them. Some agents wouldn't, right? They'd just be like, nah, not for you.
Right.
But then it's always going to be in the back of their mind. They're going to be, but why? And you sometimes have to let them smell the cat pee to bring them to what they need in their senses. Just let that wall hit them. And then I've said this a million times. I have people who want to buy all the time who say, I don't want to waste your time. And I always say, I'm like,
that's a great one. Tell me what you say when people say that to you.
First of all, I say, one, it's my job. Like this is like, they're like, I don't want to waste your evening or your this or that. And it's like, well, when you're working your job, sometimes I'm golfing with Ben.
Right.
But at 6 p.m., that's when I do my work, or Absolutely. Saturday evening or a Monday. Our schedules are not 9 to 5. It means we get these pockets sometimes in the day where we could jump out to a doctor's appointment or do whatever, but it means that we go to the 6 p.m. So first I just say to people, it's my job and I love my job. Happy to do it. And then I tell people all the time, like, I love looking at homes.
Yeah.
Like, the main reason I'm an agent is like, I see for sale signs all over the place, and I'm like, I wonder what it looks like in that place.
Yeah.
I desperately want to bring a buyer because I just want to, because it's fun. It is fun, and you get to see things that are funny with people. You get to dream about the future with people. You get to help people who are in a tough spot, and this might be the thing that gets them out of a jam. There's so many scenarios like that. So all the time, I just say, you're not wasting my time. I love looking at homes. I really enjoy it. And I won't feel comfortable if you're not comfortable. And if you look at 1 or 2 houses when you should have looked at 10 because you're worried about wasting my time,
Right.
you're going to make a purchase that you're not happy with. And that doesn't make me happy.
Right.
So if you go through 10 homes, every home is going to teach you something you love or hate about it. You're going to walk into a home, and so many times, I'm sure you have this all the time, buyers are like, I need a white kitchen. Like, I love white kitchens. They're the best. And they walk into the first home with a white kitchen and go, yuck.
This is
like, seriously. And then you're like,
All the time.
you could have waited and watched realtor.ca and gone into nothing with anything but a white kitchen, but they might just go, oh man, I want to live in this area. And they get on the street and they're like, it's so loud. This would be the worst.
There's you can't get in too early. Yes, you have to go through the pre-approval and do that part of it. But as long as we're working together to get you through that process, I've got no problem showing you some homes. 100%. It is experience for you. You have to see a certain amount of homes. And actually, you just made me think of a story from 2 years ago. Shout out to Freya and Craig, who bought on Donald Street in Belleville. They came to me because they wanted that house. I got the inquiry. They wanted that house. I showed the house. They loved the house. It had character, and she's eclectic and just loved the old staircase and everything. And it was amazing to watch her eyes light up. And so they wanted to put an offer in. They've got the little boy there, and it was fun.
Yeah.
But I made them see more houses with me.
Okay.
It was really, they're young.
Yep.
They had their parents there. It was really, really important to me that they had the experience to make sure that this one was right. So I showed 6 other homes just to sell this one.
Great.
They bought it. They love it. I contacted everybody in my Rolodex to be able to get them the right things because it was an older home and they needed to put in a heat pump system and everything, and explained all that to them. But then they felt comfortable and confident, and they left me a glowing review that explains the whole process. But that's really important to me.
It is.
You don't know. She might just like a staircase.
Yeah.
And you can find that somewhere else.
Yeah.
But I really did make sure that was the right one.
And you don't know what that looks like a week later. Like, you have people who are certain of something, and even in the conditional process, you have it sometimes where people start getting cold feet. Was it the hype? Was it the fact that my parents came over this weekend and they told us we had to buy now? Was it my friends bought a house and I felt there's so many things to it. So even if they tell you they're certain, a good agent like yourself, obviously, just give them the confidence.
That's it.
Now, not only were they like, yes, we loved it, but they looked at other places and they were 100% that they loved it. And it makes a big difference. And I'm sure you feel this talking about them, to see the smile on your face. The one thing I always say to buyers is sometimes I feel like I go through like a slight breakup when we're done.
This is actually really funny.
Seriously, like, because you got a group message, you send them photos, you're going on showings, you're making jokes, you're having this great time. And then they buy, and you're sitting there.
Miss your buddy.
Yeah, you do. You check your phone, and they don't. You're just a real estate agent, but you became their friend along the way. So some people I do pretty well at following up, mostly because I miss my buyers and sellers. But and sometimes they go longer.
Though.
Yeah,
it really does.
Yeah.
And sometimes those relationships turn into something much more than that, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
But that compassion that you have for the business is something that will make sure that your spark will never extinguish in here. You're going to do very, very well because of that care.
I appreciate that. So, but that's, and that's, I think we're similar on that, but it's just a funny thing because you sold a place. Like that is the end goal of an agent. You should be pumped.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, little mopey. Like I'm like, I sold it, but I miss my people.
Yeah. It is funny. I loved your answer to the, I don't want to bother you type of thing. And that's something that comes up actually more often than not. And I find it extremely flattering that they appreciate, our time, which just makes me want to work harder for them because they deserve it. Yeah. And my answer to that is always that we get paid very well to do what we do. Yep. And we have fun while we're doing it. So the fact that I just, if they say that they're more comfortable going to an open house, that's great. I will go to it with you. Yeah. I will just show up and stay there for the old open house until your kid's sleeping and can get over here or whatever. And away you go, and no pressure. And I just find it so much more important that they feel comfortable with everything. And we do work evenings and weekends primarily, which means we can go to the doctor's office in the morning. And I think that works out well. We've both, and I think that lends to the fact that we've both done the other side. You've done the long shifts at hospitals. You've done the 9 to 5. I've done the construction thing. So when people are like, we're bugging you, I'm like, well, I'm not slugging bags of concrete right now. So if I have to put a 4-digit code in a lockbox, that's probably better for my body. So I gotta take Although with your height, you do have to bend down quite a bit for those, right?
For my agents, I put the lockbox at the very top and just say, if you're not tall enough, you just can't see the home.
That's it. Must be 5'10" to ride.
Oh, that's perfect.
That's good.
I was going to ask a question of, this is an opinion thing, but is there anything you ever see that like you're bringing people through and it makes like your stomach sink when you're on the buying side, or you're doing an assessment on the selling side, from mold to easements to plumbing to like, what's something that, you've seen or that makes you a little bit nervous?
Originally, when you started talking about that, was not necessarily structure of the home, because when I go through a house, like keep in mind, before real estate, I have zero home knowledge. Right. Like I bought a house and asked my real estate agent what this thing on the side of the house was, and that's the hydrometer. Yeah. He said to me, okay. But when I got in, I followed the home inspectors. I love asking questions. They're at a house for 2 to 3 hours, and I just bothered the shit out of them because I enjoyed learning and I want to give value to my clients. The most important thing is they can call anybody to open that lockbox. Yes. Why would they call me? Yep. Well, because I'm giving some kind of value, I hope. And if I'm not, I need to go find it. And if I'm going on a tangent now, but if everybody, I operate on this thought that everybody in this business, every single friend or family member or client or anybody has an aunt or uncle or dog that's in this frickin' business. So why would they want to choose and work with me? Well, there has to be some value add to that. So it's really important to me that I do that. And if anybody that I've worked with previously goes and works with somebody else that isn't just a direct family member they feel obligated to, I put that on myself. It's something that I could have provided more value. I could have done better to be able to make sure that they felt confident that I was the right choice for them. I have a lot more competition now with your contracting background to make sure. But I do. When I go through a home, I am looking at a place. I'm not a home inspector, but I'm looking at a place like a detective. I want to go through. Oftentimes, I will not look at the MLS before I get to a place because real estate agents make mistakes. We talked about that very short education window that we have, and real estate agents make mistakes. So if you go in with this preconceived notion that somebody said the furnace is 20 years old or whatever, I don't take that as it is. Right. I want to go through and I want to find my own stuff. I want to, so short of, in COVID, I was looking in the attic and taking off panels, and I wasn't supposed to, but I did it because it was the right thing to protect the buyer, right? It was tough. So I kept, drills and shit in my ladders in my back. Worked out good though for everybody. Only one shock, which was good.
Literal shock or
yes.
No, okay.
one shock.
Okay.
Well, it was a good one too. Nice. But so when I go through now, I still go through, I don't have the ladder and the drill. I go through the home, I'm looking at the casing of the electrical to make sure that there's not aluminum. wiring, because it's not in the seller's best interest to disclose it all. So
Right.
I want to go through and make sure I know what I'm looking at, so that if my client likes the house and buys it, we get to a home inspection part, and there shouldn't be many surprises.
Right.
They are more qualified than I am, absolutely. But if there's something that I could have seen in the walkthrough that could have prevented us getting this far because it was important to them, and now I've just wasted my buyer's money. So it's really important to me, and my time as well too. Like the 3-hour home inspection, to get through that and go, hey, the I don't know if you didn't see the big dip in the,
the piano is falling.
Yeah, exactly.
Next,
that's not a good feeling for anybody. So I really want to do my best to get ahead of anything that way. And it's important to me to do that.
Yeah. So, and I think, like, again, you saying you had no home experience but 8 years, it's amazing how much just having conversations with you. I have a full construction background, but like the things you know now are some contractors don't know, right? So that 8 years, you've obviously, you're a sponge and you've soaked it up and learned a lot along the way, because it is very impressive. I've been able to walk through a few places and just see your client care and the detail, the things that, you wouldn't see, for a normal person wouldn't see, or you wouldn't think would deter people, and people are shocked about. One perfect example is, had a couple, and I got a chance to shadow you, and you said you look through the MLS pictures, or you look through, different pictures, and like there's things that stick out. Like we've always said, dehumidifiers in basements is one.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody's first question when they walk into a house or want to ask a question to the seller, they want to know the property taxes, and they want to know if the basement is wet.
Yes.
And here we are. I know exactly the listing you're talking about, and in the picture of the basement, they have the dehumidifier.
Yeah.
I went and asked the sellers, hey, do you use that? No, never have. But because you have it in the photo, the listing photo, it looks like you have a wet basement. They can smell the mold and mildew, and people want, their minds go to the worst automatically. Have you ever looked up something? Oh, I've got a little, nick in my thigh, and you look it up in Google, and you've got cancer, man. Like, you're going to die tomorrow.
Yeah, every time.
Yeah, but that's huge, right? To be able to tell people what other people are looking at.
Yeah, and important there to hire the right photographers. Shout out to OneLook.
Yeah, right?
People we both use. And this is a debate we've had actually with photography and video, and there is a lot of people who point and shoot. And that they don't look for the dehumidifier. They don't take the extra time to, like, man, you see weird stuff in MLS photo. You see like toilet paper draped over the toilet, or, and it's not that it's not going to sell the house, but you just don't, like, most of the shopping people do nowadays is digital.
Absolutely.
Before, you used to, when my dad was a real estate agent, he's like, I got a big fat book, and then you called people, and the first time they saw it is when they showed up. Like, that's it. Whereas now you are walking through and you're looking at all the photos once, twice, 3 times. You're sharing it to you and your husband and your mom and dad and your friends, and so you have probably 12 sets of eyes on one thing. You have a 3D walkthrough sometimes, depends on the place, but like 90% of what I have walked into places with customers, and they're like, oh yeah, we just turn left here and there's the bathroom, because they've looked so much online. It is the photos and having people who take the time to know what to shoot, what to move, and how to present, it makes it like
it's
a big
massive
deal.
difference, especially because a good chunk of our business is coming from the GTA and Ottawa, and coming this way because they want a slower, better life for themselves and their family. So they are, before they make a 3-hour drive, they're going to look. And you're totally right. So the guys at OneLook are phenomenal at being able to just take the extra time. I do show up to a listing an hour ahead of time just to make sure I put the toilet seats down and make the toilet paper look nice and all that stuff. But I'm not an expert, and they are, and they take the time to do it. It means a lot to me and my seller. It's huge, and you can't replace it.
It's the customer care portion, again, where you're going to hire the best electrician, you're going to hire the best contractor, the best inspector, but then, people glaze over the photo part because they think there's some cost saving in there, but you you go and you get the best, because that's what your clients deserve when they sell their home. And a lot of the time we've had clients sell, and like, if it's a family home or something for them, or this isn't just a listing, they keep the photos. Like, they will take that picture, the drone shot, had this really beautiful home, couple built, and OneLook shot it, and they did great drone shots, and they're moving from it because they want to be closer to their family, but like, they built that home and they thought it was their forever home, and they love it. And they have taken that, it's framed already, and it's going to their next house, and it's this memory. And people, that's the intangibles. You don't, it doesn't have a dollar sign attached to it, but it's the customer care portion of it. It means a lot to people. Right. If you take, and I've had people who, they've sometimes, if something expires and a year later they change, and that happens in the business. It does. That's one thing people have mentioned. They're like, just didn't feel like they presented, because they live in their house every day, and they're proud of
certain aspects. They love their bar. They love their garage. They love their living room. They love their floor that they just did. They love the paint. They love the cabinets. Something, but when they tell you that, it tells a story, and they want to see it as well too.
100%.
Listing photos are definitely for the buyers, but they have that little bit that you can make it better. And I also have to say as well too, especially in listing videos, I need a lot of help. Not many people know this, but I do have Tourette's, and I get stuck and I repeat things, and it makes it tough. So the power of editing for sure. is a huge boon to my business. It's been unreal. So it's can't say enough.
It makes a big difference, and it's just, the more proud somebody is of something, the more they're going to share it, and the more people are going to share it. And you never know. They say, like, if you're selling a house on the street, the people you want to talk to first is your neighbors, because if they're trying to get a buyer to live in their neighborhood, why wouldn't you want to pick your neighbors? So if you have the most presentable thing, if you're proud as a homeowner to show your neighbors and show them, and it's this whole network. So
it is something I love to do too. If I put a sign in the ground with a coming soon rider on it, I love to just walk. You don't have to do the whole neighborhood. Just do the 5 up and down and across the street. So you're handing out 10 postcards that say, do you want your friends or family to be your neighbor? And that's it. And then sometimes you get a call from that. You sell it before it hits MLS, and that's great for everybody. So,
No, that's true. Okay.
What other tips or tricks have you picked up in this year? What have you tried that hasn't worked for you?
Ooh, what have I tried that hasn't worked for me? I think the thing I've been working through a lot is just with AI and digital. I had it with my own company, my construction company. People hear a lot of noise nowadays. It is constantly, you are being sold something. And it's very easy for me. You don't know me at all, but if you know me, it's easier. But if you don't know me at all, it's easy for me to be like, I'm passionate about this, and I would love to sell your home because that's what I want to do. Everybody says that.
Right.
Like, what you aren't, do I believe it's true for me? Yes. But how do you prove to people it is true? The thing, and there's the email campaigns and there's the social media, and I would say that I fall behind in those areas because I just find that I make more of an impact person to person.
Honestly, that genuine connection is something, as people have traveled towards AI, and don't get me wrong, I use it to help spruce up a listing description. It's phenomenal. Is a great tool in my tool belt. But when you have just the generic crap coming into people's inbox from the very clearly AI-generated generic email drip marketing campaign, all it does is just tell that person to turn you off. And you're ruining that connection that you've worked for.
And that's what people don't realize is that, like, the thought process is, if I send out 1,000 generic things in 1 or 2 bites, great. But like, there is 998 people, and in that, there's some people who now won't work with you,
right? Because
you've just established that is how you practice your business. They are one of the numbers. They are, if they reach out, it's so. For me, I guess to answer your question, what hasn't worked for me is the way that I think a lot of agents are moving in just bulk. Like I need mass amount of people. If a percentage of the mass works with me and a percentage of those sells and a percentage of that, you know, there is my baseline.
Yeah, honestly, and that's a big thing in sales, in other industries as well too, is that if you want to sell one house next month, that you have to make, you know, so many listing appointments, which means you have to make so many calls and then also send so many emails and then and the pool gets so big, so every day you have to make 48,000 touch points between people. So if that's the math you want to do, that's fine. It does work. There are absolutely agents in our area that are successful on a volume-based business.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like people.
Yeah, me too.
And like when people are like, I'm a nerd, man, and I'm awkward. And yes, I do like to text more than call you.
Yeah.
And that's tough for people to understand. But I don't know, when somebody is using me, they get me. Yes. And I think that's really important. And I feel comfortable being a nerd in front of people and talking about whatever you want to talk about. I can also turn that off if you're not into that. That's fine as well too. But I do find now more people that grew up in the 90s are more comfortable talking about Pokemon and stuff like that. Sure. And I fucking love it.
There that's perfect.
I'm in anytime. You're a bit younger than I am.
Yeah, so I'm 31.
31. Okay,
so
I have
not that much.
Big question for you.
Uh-oh.
How can you tell how old I am just based on my socks? Are you an ankle sock guy? Because I have been told this before that I'm 35 people know because of my ankle socks.
I was probably on the bottom edge of that. I did have a phase where my parents would buy the tube socks because that's the Walmart pack that they got, and I would do the fold over back under the heel to make the ankle sock. And but then I think as volleyball went on, I always wore ankle braces, so I did the tall socks and kind of got out of it at the right time.
Smart.
Yeah,
I got stuck.
Not riding that train still. You know, you're probably saving money because of material, you'd think, but no. So I actually thought that, you know, I thought you were younger. You just got that young spirit about you. When we asked, then I asked the same question to other people and they shot way high on me. So I don't know what grandpa vibes I'm giving off. Apparently we were supposed to switch ages, but
I think that's it.
We could do that, yeah.
It was funny. We talked about age and we talked about weight as well too, which I thought was hilarious because you're a beanpole.
Yes.
But you're 6'9", so your bones have huge mass. Like
big bones is the term, right? Is that what all the
big socks too?
The weight of the socks definitely helped me put on weight. So but
I had no parameter in which to gauge how much.
That's a fun one. If I go
fun.
to the fairs, I'm definitely that guess your weight on the scale thing because it's just a wild, awkward, and height too. I'm terrible because I'm just like my standard is 6'8". So like I look at someone like yourself who's tall, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe you're 5'7". And it's like, nope, you're
no idea.
You know,
I don't have children, so I've had a really tough time. This is actually a two-part funny story. I have a tough time telling how old a kid is.
Yeah, sure.
I have no idea if they're 1 or 4, and I have an even tougher time when I'm doing showings. I have no kids, no pets, and I'm going to keep it that way. But when I get stuck at baby gates on stairs,
that's so funny.
I have to have my clients open them for me. I have no idea how it works. I can do lots of stuff. We talk about contracting. I know lots about houses, and yet this little piece of plastic.
Yeah.
I'm fucked.
They're wild. They are wild. Baby gates are incredibly frustrating. Have I Spartan kicked a few down the stairs? Possibly. But yeah, they're
probably just step over it, don't you? Like
most of the time.
But then your client's got to get through, so I guess you got to open the door.
So I'm just trying to be, I'm not exclusive to tall people, so I work with short people too.
Good.
But yeah.
What's your favorite type of home? What gets you excited the most to look at a home?
That is a really good question. Man, I think that I can get excited about just about anything. Like I really do. I really like going in the older homes that just have building practices you'd never see, like the the handrails that are hand carved, or the beams that
Only
are
also come up to your hip.
Yeah, exactly. Those are
very
dangerous for me.
thing.
Yeah. But yeah, and just the beams that you see, the axe marks and stuff. I think the carpenter in me really appreciates that. But on the same side, like the ultra modern tech, is really really quite cool, and I think just unique. I love subdivision homes and looking at new builds and stuff like that, but there's something that you just don't know what's around the next corner, and it's either hilariously awkwardly placed or it makes total sense and you never thought about it. But yeah, stuff like that. What about you?
I love the affordability factor. So anytime I get a chance to go look at, and I think this is crazy. So I talk to a lot of newer agents, and they go, I want to specialize in luxury.
Right.
I want to sell $1.5 million, $2 million. I want to do Rednersville Road up and down.
Right. Yep.
I get that. You might do one every other year like that, or you can specialize, and there is a niche for that. And I don't know. It just doesn't get me that excited. When I tour buyers through a home, I like the discovery part. And I have it often where I go through a $1 million house and I go, this is nice.
Yep.
If cabinets and the colors, but I have nothing. I feel like that value add that I have with, this is what we're looking at. This is why the floor is dipping. The joists are this size.
Sure.
Like the hot water tank is this age. Like if it's brand new, it's brand new. But I get to show people how old the furnace is by looking at the gas pressure test tag. Like there's so much education part that I enjoy.
Which
affordable.
differentiates you too, because most agents are like new build, brand new.
Right.
Nothing scary.
No questions.
Go to scary homes and they're like, oh, this is, they don't even know how to explain it to their clients.
Yeah.
And the fact that you went from almost no home knowledge to wanting to take on the places that, it just shows that level of education you've, given yourself over time, the stuff you've learned yourself, and you weren't afraid to ask questions when you didn't know them. Yeah. And that, a big thing too is agents are like, it's okay to say to a customer like, hey, I'm not certain, but I will get the answer.
I think that's the best thing. I had a mentor when I got into the business, and that was one of the best pieces of advice I ever got was, I don't know, but I will find out.
Yes.
And okay, so if you say that a lot, it gets repetitive, and you should probably know some of the things.
I don't know, but I will find out if this is a house for you. Thank you for the question.
Right? You can't ask that. I get stuck a lot on school zones. Again, with no kids, it's tough for me to know exactly which school zone is which area, but thankfully I have lots of great friends. My admin has great kids, and so I have the answer just at the touch of my fingers. I've got it right there. Yeah. So there's lots of that I will absolutely, and it's very important to people.
For sure.
Like school 100%. Zones are very important.
100%.
Breaking up kids and families. I was military family, so I never had a best friend growing up. I always met new people, and I guess that's fortunate in our business to be able to talk to people, especially you with your team and everything. Like you would meet new people all the time.
Do you want to be my best friend?
Can we do that?
Yeah, we can do that.
Can we do that?
I think we can figure that out.
Yeah. All right. Let's do it.
Do you want to send me the paperwork? Or like, how's that? Because I just don't want to find out next week that you have a other best friend that we should lock this in. We should probably just do a purchase agreement of friendship or something.
Now, do you have an SBP to go with that? Do you have to get rid of your?
Yeah, I've lost a lot of friends along the way. Last minute people swoop in on deals, so I really do like that on paper. But it's just smart thing to do.
5-year AM. We'll get that going.
See how it goes, if we're still comfortable or if we're just, going to look at new stuff in 5 years. So, we might grow out of it, but hopefully not. So
I don't think so.
You're teaching golf to my kids. So that
sounds really fun.
I'm excited about that because Noah is just hitting a golf ball around the yard right now. And sometimes he hits the chickens. Sometimes he doesn't. But,
those poor chickens. Well, I'm sure that they have much more promise than you do in the sport, so that's good.
Big time. Yeah, they have their mom's genes, hopefully, and I'm just trying to strengthen the gene pool over here. So we need less bean stalks and more tall and strong. That would be nice. Big and tall store. I don't know how long we've talked for.